Okay, people, today is the day. Today I am doing my Thursday tier list. I made this one from scratch, and I just wanted to do one so I could complain about a franchise or two. And, yeah, that's what I'm doing today. So, hopefully, you're ready. This is just chatting area so we can socialize. And, yeah, I know you guys are into the GTA High Life, which is my main thing, and I will be doing that later on. But right now, I'm doing uh, Robocop versus Terminator tier list, and or Terminator versus Robocop tier list. I don't know if I just said that, but that's what's happening. That's what I'm doing, and yeah. And if you want to talk about anything, this is just chatting, so that's what's going down. We're just chatting and talking about um, tier list stuff and things. So as the planet keeps spinning, you know what I'm saying? The world keeps going, and we keep going, and that's what's happening. Anyway, on the surface of the planet, we get to the surface of the issue, and we talk about the problem it solves, or something. Let's just get to it. I was gonna do this whole thing. Anyway, so I was gonna do this whole thing. It didn't make any sense. Okay. So anyway, here is the tier list today. Okay. We got Robocop and Terminator, or Terminator and Robocop, whichever way you want to do this. At the top it does say creating a single use tier list. Okay. I be creating them. This one I got lazy. I didn't feel like doing nothing up there. You know what it is because I'm telling you what it is. Okay. And it's pretty simple. I know I got my posters and light and all jacked up, but whatever. Okay. So, but anyway, so here's what's happening. Every RoboCop movie, including the RoboCop series, Terminator. I mean, god dang it. Yeah, let's start over. Every Terminator movie. See, I'm getting them mixed up because they're both robot people and shit. Okay, but I love the hell out of Terminator. Okay, I'm a big ass Terminator fan. And it wasn't really the first one, it was the second one that started everything. And I think it did for everybody because, let's just face it, Judgment Day is a shit. Okay? And I put down every Terminator movie and the Terminator TV series, Sarah Connor Chronicles, because I did love that series. And it had an actress I love, which is Summer Gale. And I loved her acting. I don't know where else she went, and I wish she'd come back because that girl, that woman, that ballet dancing, badass fighting mama, uh, is a great actress. I think she deserves more roles, and she'd probably be better than most of these actresses today. I think she has on the same level as Mila Jovovich. She's the greatest actress too because because she knows how to make pain look real. She knows how to make she gets into her roles. But some actresses are just like help, and it's not really convincing helping. I can give you some examples of I could actually put videos up and stuff without getting copyrighted or some crap. But yes, Summer Gale, perfect actress, and so that's why you have to add in. On top of the fact, it's the only thing that explains why Sarah Connor's not in Terminator 3 and every other Terminator after that until Dark Fate, which is a whole. I don't even want to get there yet. But anyway, before I'm doing all this talking about it now, before I even got into the tier list, and then RoboCop. I'm talking about RoboCop because once again, just like Terminator, I love RoboCop, especially growing up. Two, I've seen a billion times. One, I've seen 100 times. Three, not so much. And the last one, the new one, something else. But there's people don't know that there's actually I want to say 4 or 5 more RoboCop movies, but they come from Canada. And I actually seen the first two, which actually kind of takes place after three. and they're all pretty good. I didn't add them to the tier list because um, they're not mainstream. People in America really don't know. I found out about them because this little Mexican girl was dating this Mexican woman, girl or whatever. Anyway, her friend's daughter was obsessed with Robocop, and I couldn't figure out why because it was my generation thing. It was a 80s thing, and I'm thinking, how does this little girl know about Robocop? And she's talking about it like as if she's just seen. I think she watched the old one, right? Wrong. She's watching these Canadian ones, and that's how I found out about it. And I gave her all my Robocop comic books that were made by Marvel at the time, which people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. But actually, the comic series is pretty good. I had a nice, good stack. I gave it all to this little girl. And anyway, so this whole Robocop thing is actually more solid than Terminator, even though Terminator franchise is so big and fan base is huge. And I have to say, once again, it all has to do with T2. So let's get started. As usual, I have excellent, great, cool, okay, bad, and it's terrible. It's all terrible. It's all wrong. It should never happen. Okay, that's the tier list. So I'll just do the arrow once again. Excellent. It's an excellent one. Great. It's a cool movie. It's okay movie. It's a bad movie. And it's terrible. It's terrible. Wrong. Wrong. Everything's wrong about it. Okay. So let's start with T1. Terminator 1. What can I say about it? There's several things I can say about it. It's a good movie. And you can tell it's early 80s because they still come off that 70s vibe. The hair is huge as hell. People wearing a tight, pants and all that crap, you know. And I mean, there's certain things that stand out in this movie. The whole ball of light and someone coming out, especially the part in the beginning with a guy in a truck and big ass, he's in a big ass semi truck and all of a sudden he's freaking out this black dude because it's terrible. Well, I think it was John Connor that came out that one. And no, it was Kyle Reese. My bad. I don't know why I said John Connor. Kyle Reese came out and scared the hell out the guy and stuff. One thing I remember as a kid, and this is just a little thing tied with Terminator 1, and it's not just when I was a kid, because it goes later on in life. There's scenes in this movie that people will remember, right? Like, okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger goes into the police officer and he says, "I'll be back," and he tears the whole shit out the front of the police station. And then there's the big gunfight with him and Kyle in the parking lot, this big parking lot garage thing. And then there was this whole thing with Sarah Connor in the bar, and they're fighting, and Kyle's coming for her, and all this. But when I was a kid in class and stuff, you would have other boys and we talk about, action movies and stuff. They always mentioned one part that didn't make sense was, and it would be the part where Kyle, and it wasn't even the violent scene in the movie. It wasn't like a super action-packed movie or scene, or it wasn't like a scene where like the two were falling in love or anything like that. It was just a conversation scene. And I remember people saying, "Oh man, you see the part where Kyle and Sarah Connor are talking, and he's talking about making pipe bombs, and they put mothballs in the pipe bomb, and they're able to blow it up." And I'm thinking, what the hell? Why is that so important, right? And then I watched the movie, a couple times, and I was like, what the hell, And I gotta give it to him. It was something that you think about because he makes it seem like pipe bombs are so freaking simple to make. And then like later on, I'm a teen, and that's just another thing. Someone else told other kids, a group of kids at the time, same thing. They mentioned that same scene, and it's like that's one thing. I mean, I watched the movie, and to be honest with you, the scene that kind of sticks out, besides the part where Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator character gets crushed by this big ass thing, and besides that police scene, I'm saying where they rip the whole front of the police station out. That's the only scene that is rememberable. Is the part where he's making pipe bomb, where he's talking about using mothballs in the freaking pipe to make a pipe bomb. And I think it's because kids in the 80s like to build stuff. a lot different than now, where things are built and it's more computers, technical crap, and we was all obsessed with bombs and things like that, and guns and mini guns, what they call them now, but Gatling guns or whatever, So anyway, um, yeah, it's just I have no idea. It's some kind of guy phenomenon that's the one scene people remember, guys remember. But either way, it was a good movie. It showed that there's some kind of futuristic thing going on. That Sarah Connors is this patron saint mother type of thing. God dang. And it's also like showing that the Terminator is relentless. That he's gonna continue to come no matter what you do to him. He's gonna keep coming, and he's just a badass. So that's what the first one did. So, but I like the first one. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie. I'm gonna say it's a cool movie. I'm not saying it's super great, and I'm not saying it's excellent. Why am I not saying this? Because of the fact that it is memorable. It's a good scene. It's not something I'm gonna jump on and want to watch constantly. I've seen it multiple times. It's not a super ass. Uh, I don't know. It's not to the point to where you're like, okay. Well, I guess when you're saying about the whole thing between Sarah Connor getting chased by the Terminator, that's more of a great. That would make it a great movie, I guess. But in my eyes, it's a cool movie. Because, like I said, there's a lot of action things and stuff. But there's nothing where I sit back when I'm thinking of Terminator and go, I'm gonna watch Terminator 1 and so forth. The best thing you got in Terminator 1 out of everything else is Kyle Reese. Because Kyle Reese sells the movie. He sells the Terminator. He's telling you the Terminator is a threat to all of mankind. He's telling you in the future. He's from the future. First off, I'm from the future. I'm from the future. There's this joke about coming from the future from Terminator being decades. It's funny anyway. So anyway, but the thing is, like, he sells the movie. Kyle Reese sells the movie. Without him, you don't know that there's this future war. Mankind is like slaves, and they're being tore apart by these robots that are replacing them. And these robots are coming to kill the person that's trying to hold a revolution against them, the human that is. That human is the future baby of Sarah Connor. So you would not know that. Then the other element is the photo that Sarah Connor takes in Mexico after she's got away from the Terminator and Kyle is dead. And so that sells the movie. That's what makes part one interesting. Other than that, there's no reason to watch part one unless you really want to know why Sarah is deranged in the second movie, or angry, or weird, or however you want to put it. She's still a badass in the second movie. Hence why we're going to the second movie. So, T2, best action movie ever. Uh, T2 is better because, oh my God, we got John Connor. Okay, John Connor, little boy, badass little boy. You got the one, his friend, the redheaded kid who was from hell, a lot of Nickelodeon shows. I think he was in Hey Dude, you know, How to Eat Your Shorts, some kind of camp show called How to Eat Your Shorts or some shit like that. He was popular back in the 80s, 90s, mostly 90s Nickelodeon shows. But he was John Connor's best friend, and he was in the movie, so that kind of sold it for kids. And that's the thing too. This is the first action movie where you have a kid. We had Rambo back then. We had Commando. We had man, so many freaking movies. I can go on and on and on. But you rarely got an action movie where there was a kid in there that you did. The kid was like a comedy relief or something like that. John Connor's character is like he's supposed to be this future leader. He hates his mom for abandoning him. He's trying to understand what this Terminator is. He looks at the Terminator as a surrogate parent type of thing, like a father figure, a mentor type of thing. Uh, and so it makes the movie interesting. Plus, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he didn't really do this talking and interacting thing in part one, but he made it more kind of humorous. He's like, whatever. But the thing too is the freaking uh, T-1000 or whatever you call the liquidated Terminator. Okay, that motherfucker's badass. And the fight between him and Arnold Schwarzenegger, especially the one in the mall where Arnold's got the bouquet of roses and stuff, and he's walking, the Terminator. The other one's dressed like a cop. He's like, "Have you seen this boy?" That comedy thing is everywhere, right? And then he just comes up and he pulls that bouquet out and the gun, like, pow, like, pow. That shit is badass. And they get in the motorcycle, they all look straight up. Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna go too deep. Terminator 2 is a shit. Okay, it is the best Terminator movie ever. One of the best action films ever. To this day, still the best action film ever. And man, the storyline's perfect. You get to see glimpses of the future where John Connor's a grown man. You get to see Sarah Connor's vision of what happens when the world gets destroyed by the Terminators when she's holding onto the fence and stuff like that. And then you see Sarah Connor too. That's another tight ass thing. She's in a nut house. She's like doing these pull ups. She's a badass chick, man. She's gonna turn into this badass warrior chick. And even the whole scene where he comes off the elevator and she's staring at him and shit and thinking it's oh fuck he's back type of thing and all this stuff. It's epic. This is action movies at its best, and I have to say it's the most excellent Terminator movie there is, and will always probably be because now we have all this confusion. Okay, because after that it's like, hey, how do we make this story come back? Can we make it as good as part two? Because that's what they're all living up to. It's kind of like I don't know how to explain it. It's like you made something so perfect. You just gotta live in its shadow. You're trying to make something that's just as close or better. But Terminator franchise has not come to that thing that says, okay, let's make something. Let's be on the same level as Terminator 2. They haven't. They haven't. It's just like they haven't. I swear to God. Because now we're going into T3. T3 John Connor's supposed to be older. It would be cool if they waited till the kid grew up, the actor. But, he was like, I don't know, 12 or something with a movie. He had some kind of growth spurt. They talk about it in deleted scenes of T2. But anyway, so they got this actor that's playing John Connor, some girl that was never in part 2, talking about, oh, you came to my party, we were going to kiss, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Sarah Connor's supposedly dead, which is a crap because it happens off screen. You don't know what the hell happened to her. And you're like, dang, what happened to Sarah Connor? And that was bad for me because in part two, I really like Sarah Connor. I mean, who wouldn't want a badass mom that has a shotgun? She's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's some badass shit. Okay? You just want to blow stuff up. Okay? So, I don't know why they did that. They got rid of Sarah Connor. And it ruins the whole thing really. But at the same time, there's this badass hottie that's a Terminator that can make her boobs grow, that can just like turn into both. She's like both. She's Arnold Schwarzenegger's character and the Liquid guy. I think three would have been better if they put the Liquid guy in there and her and Robocop or Arnold Schwarzenegger's. I'm about to say Robocop. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator. That would have made a more epic three. And I've always said that because I mean she's got both of their abilities. So if you had him in there, okay, and I can give you a scenario how you would put him in there. You would say, okay, here's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's supposed to stop. He's supposed to help John Connor. Then you got the girl that's coming to kill John Connor. Then you got the Liquid one there to make sure she finishes her plans. Like she executes the plan. Okay, but as not just executing the plan, he ensures that Skynet succeeds. So while she's running around trying to kill John Connor, and you got Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to stop her and protect John Connor. Actually, the cool part about it is not even John Connor. It's supposed to be, that's the twist in the freaking movie. And it's John Connor's wife, and I forget why it's his wife that he's supposed to be protecting. I can't even remember why. But if you had, like, I'm just trying to explain my whole reasoning why I think the Liquid Terminator should have been in 3. Okay? He's going to try to make Skynet happen. He's going there, he's making stuff that's making it happen. It would have made more sense, to me anyway, And I mean, the whole thing in the cemetery was kind of cool with Arnold Schwarzenegger ripping and holding a big ass coffin and all this stuff. But my point is that would have been cool. Well, it makes more sense. It's something different. If you would have said, okay, because you already had the pattern, you could already copy in part two. If you get the girl, all you did was change the liquid Terminator for a girl Terminator. Okay, and freaking, you know what I mean? Hey, what's up, my man? What's up? This is chat time. This is the tier list. I do it every Thursday about movies and stuff. So you guys can talk or say whatever, however you feel about what I'm talking about. I'm doing Terminator, Robocop. I'm explaining the tier list of what I think is cool about it. But right now I'm talking about three because Terminator 3 is good, but it could have been way, way better. And I think if you would have had a liquid Terminator, it would have made more sense. Okay, but it still came out all right. Uh, the fight was all right, but I just said it's really copying too because you got Arnold Schwarzenegger doing the same thing, and you got another Terminator once again whose purpose is to stop John Connor or his allies, and you know that he is up in Cheyenne Mountains to start the revolution and everything like that. But if you would have had the other Terminator and said, hey, let's make sure secure Skynet by going off and doing that, it would have been a better movie, I think. Instead of just copying two's format where your two Terminators are after each other because of different sides. And it would have made Skynet a little bit more powerful. But that never happened. But I'm going to say T3 is a great movie. I'm not saying this. I know my thing is a little weird, but this is my tier list. Okay? So, one is cool. One is cool. Like I said, the pipe bomb scene, even though it's the lamest scene to some people, is cool. I don't know why it was always cool, but it is. And the whole thing with Terminator 2 being the most amazing action movie is the truth. That's why it's an excellent section, and now T3 is a great movie. Not because of the Terminator crap I'm explaining between the Terminators, because there's a hot ass Terminator, and I like the whole thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger being knocked around on this giant ass, whatever the fuck truck that is with the bulldozer, and the whole cemetery scene, and the therapist that's freaking out that he thought that Sarah Connor was nuts, and he's already nuts himself now. That was cool. But the thing I don't like is Sarah Connor's dead, and that's what I didn't dig about part three. And you know, it was just something about three I didn't dig about that. You know. So now we're talking about the TV series, which is added to this list because I think the TV series should count as part of the franchise of movies. And Summer Gale being the Terminator, a young kid, female Terminator, is interesting. She's supposed to be like John Connor's like sister or something in this story, you know, robot sister. Really, she's like his glove interest type of thing. I don't know. There's this one scene where there's like this girl that's a fine Mexican girl. She's there, and then the Terminator chick, you know, Summer Gale's like character, but I'm like, dang, what's going on here? This is kind of cool, right? And then they like take off, and she tries to be more like her. Try to be more that person is instead of being more robotic. But the thing about it was all right little series because it explains why Sarah wasn't in three. She had cancer. They did this whole thing where there was a something that sent them into the future. I forget how it went down. And so there was a Terminator that came, and then there was this whole thing of trying to stop Skynet again. But explaining how Sarah went about trying to go out, trying to make sure that John Connor was going to be all right, and giving this other Terminator more of a protecting role of John Connor. The only problem with the TV series is the ending, is the part where John Connor ends up time traveling to the future, and when he gets to the future, everyone's looking at him, and he's already like looked like he was in a war because he just sat there fought Terminators and stuff. His mom dies. The Terminator he's with that was went through this whole weird change through the series. And he gets to this future, and there's all these humans, and they're trying to survive. They're in some kind of bunker or whatever. And they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm John Connor." And they're like, "Oh, you're John Connor," and all this, like he was already there to them, like that he never grew up with them or anything. He was just popped up in the future, and they accepted him as one of them. And so they're trying to say that's how he became a leader, was he got to the future through time travel and was able to lead the human resistance against the robots. And so that's the weird part, because the movies say different, and it's because of part three. They put him in the Cheyenne Mountains, and they're saying, okay, he was able to start it there. Three kind of just lips, a whole different thing. I think this whole thing is a great move, a great TV tie-in to Terminator. I think it was great. I think it was a little too short, but I think you would look at it as a mini series, like a mini movie series, if you watch it. And I think it's highly underrated. I liked it. Even though the actress isn't the real Sarah Connor, the dude isn't the real John Connor, but he's still close because he's still around the age. It'd be like if you looked at the Terminator kid from T2 growing up a little bit, and that's pretty much what he did. And this. But I like it, so it goes in there. So now, Terminator Salvation. I don't hate it, but I think it's. I don't hate it because it's trying to be unique. It's trying to be different. It's not just like the same old, let's protect John Connor or Sarah Connor or whoever. Let's let the Terminator go after that person type of thing. It's more based in the future where a Terminator doesn't even know he's a Terminator, which makes it a trip. Because it would probably make more sense though. Why would every Terminator be programmed to know they're a robot, but they look like a human? And that's what makes it interesting. He doesn't even know he's a freaking Terminator, and he finds Kyle Reese and becomes friends with him. And it makes it, or I know he's actually going to go find Kyle Reese because that was the first friend he made, type of thing. And Kyle Reese gets kidnapped by the robots and stuff, and this guy or robot goes after him. Uh, I like Salvation. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Salvation is the better Terminator uh, prequel, I guess you would say, or quadruple. I don't know, but either way, I like it because the way they make the future look. There's just one part where they're walking, and I don't know. So this is where I say people trip out on scenes. This is another scene I've talked about with guys, or they were just sitting around bullshitting, or drinking or something, and they'll talk about some Terminator movie or whatever. But this is a scene where he walks in a freaking town, and out of nowhere, this car starts playing Alice in Chains and stuff, and it's like it just seems so awkward in the movie, but for some reason it's just calling out to you because they're in like an Armageddon. The world's being destroyed, and they're playing that song "Heaven Beside You, Hell Within" by Alice in Chains, and it just calls out real quick, and you're like, "What the hell is this?" Right? But somehow it sticks. And so it's like I don't know why, but that moment is perfect for some reason in that movie. And so, but then the whole thing of saving Kyle Reese is cool when he's jumping on the fucking thing to get the people out and stuff. He's die hard trying to save the people. Uh, what's his name? Chris Bale being John Connor. I think it's good, but I don't think they played it out enough. I think because I mean, look at this guy's Batman. He's freaking everything. He's one of the best actors in Hollywood. But when you gave him the John Connor role, you didn't give him a bigger role. I mean, it should be bigger. The movie should actually be longer because Chris Bell's in it, being John Connor. I think that was opportunity lost. That they should have, they lost the opportunity to use a great actor in a role that should have been great. But nope. As him as future John Connor, perfect. Opportunity lost. The chick that played his girlfriend is supposed to be the chick for part three. In this movie, this is like, what is this? She's not really relevant to shit. Okay? So, I mean, them two characters should be the biggest thing. I mean, this whole guy being not knowing he's a Terminator and he's trying to save Kyle Reese is crazy. But then here's the thing: Kyle Reese gets known by John Connor. Oh, we gotta go. What Kyle Reese, my dad? Da, 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 da. Like you can beat my dad. And he's a little kid type of bullshit. It was like what? It's like so. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting movie. Okay, I can't say Salvation is excellent. but I have to say it's a good movie. It's a great movie in a way. So yeah, I'll put it in great, but I'm not gonna say it's an excellent movie because I have seen it multiple times, and I've seen three multiple times. I saw it three in theaters and stuff, everything like that. But with this Salvation, uh, it's good because of all the stuff that's happening with this Terminator and Kyle Reese. And but they so missed the opportunity of using John Connor in more of a bigger role in doing things, like maybe showing them strategizing more on how to get rid of the Terminators, or finding a way to make humans have stuff. Like, okay, we can make humans be able to survive more in an underground tunnel somewhere, or they can make a society that the Terminators cannot find, and be able to mate it, whatever. They hit the field was wide open, but they did what they did. You know what I mean? And so that's what happened with that. And so Terminator Genesis. Okay, I didn't like it. This is the crappiest Terminator movie, and I'm not saying it's crappy because it's it's just crappy. Okay, it's crappy because here you got Terminators coming, multiple Terminators coming. At this point, Arnold Schwarzenegger's old. They start using CG versions of him in this movie. This guy's supposed to be John Connor. He doesn't. I mean, Kyle Reese. He doesn't look like Kyle Reese. They picked this girl who doesn't look like Sarah Connor and try to redo the first movie. Try to change history to the first movie. Now that's the only thing interesting. Skynet is a cell phone company or something, and everyone has a cell phone. It made sense a bit. That part makes sense. That the cell phones are freaking Skynet. I mean, that makes so much sense with Terminator Genesis. And I was like, oh shit, that's a good fucking point. I never thought about cell phones being part of Skynet. It would make sense because humans gave up when cell phones came out. People gave up so quick to get a cell phone. They didn't drop pagers like, and pagers was taking over for a hot second too when they first came out. But it's like, whoa, cell phones. So that part makes sense in the movie. That Skynet would be a cell phone company. The whole thing of going back to the first movie and trying to change things with actors that doesn't even look tall, like, or the same height as the actress that played Sarah Connor originally. And then this guy who doesn't look shit like Kyle Reese at all. Like, find someone that looks exactly like the actor that played Kyle Reese. Okay, but this guy, he's more chubby face, round head. And then the whole copying the whole beginning of Terminator is just, they're just messed up. And the guy at the end who's supposed to be, I think if I remember how the bad guy is, he was so shitty of an actor that it's just hard to remember how the fuck this shit went down. I watched it one time. Now that's how you know it's a bad Terminator movie. Okay, Genesis is a horrible Terminator movie, you guys. And I had someone tell me, "Oh, it's a good movie, this and that." And they went on about Arnold Schwarzenegger and how he did this, how they used these people when they redid this scene. You remember when they did the elevator scene and da 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 and the first movie and they redid it and now it looks like this and they're like, oh, man, that movie sucks. I'm like, it's so bad of a movie. It's just horrible. So I don't like Terminator Genesis. I don't like the actors. I think this made Arnold Schwarzenegger look old as hell. I think that I don't know. I just did not like this movie. So I can put it in bad, but I'm putting it down here in terrible because that's just terrible. Genesis was terrible. It wasn't thought through. The only thing that was thought through in this movie that makes sense is the cell phone shit. That Skynet became a cell phone company. That freaking Miles Dyson, son or whatever, became the head of Skynet. That makes sense. Everything else is bullshit in this Terminator movie. I don't like the actor chick. I think she ends up being in the Valerian, the Thousand Cities in the Sky or some crap. That movie's good. I like that movie. People hate that movie, but for some reason I like it. Maybe it's the David Bowie song in the beginning of the movie, which is actually the best intro for a movie I ever seen. This pop got me burping. It's like I went to the pop machine and all they had was root beer. I usually like root beer, but now I don't even drink root beer till now. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I prefer Coca-Cola or freaking Dr. Pepper. But anyway, that's all they had. Every pop, as choice as God, but freaking root beer. Anyway, so yeah, I just hate freaking Terminator Genesis. I mean, you can explain it however you guys want, justify it however you want. It's the crappiest Terminator movie ever. Next to the crappiest Terminator movie ever is the most shittiest, horrible, disastrous Terminator movie ever, and that's Terminator Dark Fate. I'm sorry. I know a lot of y'all like, oh, I like this. I've heard people say they like this movie, and I don't know why. There's a problem with American movies and things nowadays. When we was growing up, you get movies, they pop out. They actually tried to make interesting movies, and they made so much epic heroes that you'd be like, oh man, you know, it's like Luke Skywalker, for example. That man, everyone talk about him, had on lunch pails all over the place. You know, here's the thing. When they made the freaking other ones with Anakin and all that, you had to warm up to Anakin. You had to warm up to Obi-Wan and all that. It wasn't like the stuff from the beginning. And then when you make this crappy ass movie with Rey and make Luke Skywalker look retarded, it's like what you do to our hero, right? You fucked him up and then made him die and all this other shit, right? It's the same thing with Han Solo, you kill him, right? And then here we go again. This is like another one of the movies where you destroy a hero, a movie hero that people love and talk about constantly. They killed John Connor so quick in this fucking movie, it fucked me up. And then the thing about it is, it was the little boy, John Connor, the one that we all know from the second movie. And you're like, you killed him, what? You killed John Connor, you motherfuckers, right? That's how I felt. Seriously, I was mad. I was like, you killed John Connor, right? And I sat there trying to watch this. It was like, because Sarah Connor's back. It was like, that's the thing that made me go watch this movie. It was okay. Oh my God, you brought Sarah Connor back. I can't believe it. Yes, right? I'm like, yes, Sarah Connor's back, right? And I was hoping that John Connor would come back, but to see him get killed in like the first 5 minutes of the fucking movie ruined the whole damn movie for me. I tried. Lord knows I tried. I sat there watching the movie. There's this Mexican girl. She somehow is the new John Connor or some crap. This hot, semi-mannish female chick. I don't know what the hell she is. Can't explain a robot chick. She was annoying. Okay, I was like, what the fuck is this chick? Why is she supposed to be the female Terminator? Just even talking about it, I'm getting traumatized trying to explain it to you guys. It's just, oh my God, I can't hate this fucking movie. Okay. Then here's the thing that makes sense. They go against Terminator 2 rules. They literally go against Terminator 2 rules, man. They like change. I don't even know how to explain it to you. I don't know where there's a freaking Terminator that's been around the whole fucking time. Okay? And that Terminator's been freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger's character. Somehow he's alive. He's been sending all these secret letters of freaking Sarah Connor and all this crap. They're on this timeline where they remember John Connor. Everyone else don't remember John. What the hell is this bullshit, man? It's like they fucked this movie up so bad. They fucked Terminator up so bad. And if they ever made another Terminator, no one's gonna believe it now because you destroyed the storyline. You destroyed the storyline. I understand time travel has different things and you might have, different scenarios. But this right here is just like, what did you do? Why would you do this? What made you think of this? I mean, Genesis is already horrible, like by going back and erasing the real Kyle Reese and like destroying Sarah Connor before she could come back like in this movie. But John Connor was the man. I was like, oh, this girl who I can't even remember. I literally watched the whole damn movie, and I can't tell you the name of that girl who's supposed to be the new John Connor. I can tell you there's good action scenes with this female robot, and I forget what the other one was. See, I don't remember. That's how shitty the movie was. All I know is the main focus was on Sarah Connor, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, but I couldn't understand what the hell that's about. I just didn't get it. It's like he just ruined everything. So Hollywood has a knack of nowadays in the 21st century, for whatever reason, to destroy every hero that we had back in the 80s and 90s in action movies. Literally. They might as well make a Die Hard where they kill John McClane, kill John McClane off, and you might as well have another one where Rambo, kills himself because he's got post-traumatic war syndrome, and you have all these movies that just kill off all our heroes, and they tell us, okay, these are good movies, but killing off John Connor, you can't come back from that. I'm sorry. I heard someone say something about another Terminator before, and I said, there's no fucking way. You killed John Connor, bro. You just hurt my feelings. Okay, it's like a little kid brother or something. You killed him by why? I hate this fucking movie. So it goes into freaking the most terrible, the horrible, terrible. This is a crappy ass movie. It should never been created. It should never killed John Connor. I hate everyone that made that movie. They can go fuck themselves. Okay, so moving on. Robocop. First Robocop movie is awesome. Okay, I can literally just tell you it's one of the best Robocop movies, and this is why they made sequels. What makes it the best, and what makes it shocking, when this movie came out, it was like, okay, what's a Robocop? People were interested because robots was a thing back in the 80s, or we wouldn't even have Terminator or anything like this. But Robocop came out, and you're like, okay, what's this going to be about? And you're watching it in the first part of it, he's a cop. I mean, for I don't know how long, I guess like 15 minutes of the movie, in the beginning, he's a cop. And then, like, to see him get gunned down by this big ass gang. I mean, everyone's shooting him with bullets and stuff. You're like, bang, bang. He's like sitting there, like, getting executed by all these guns, right? Anybody can tell and know, there's no coming back from that. There's no coming back from being gunned down by a shit ton of guns, by a gang of, I don't know how many people, 20 people, to shoot you with guns, shotguns, regular guns, semi-automatics, all this. That dude was dead. And they brought him back as a robot. Like, what? And then, so the whole compelling thing that keeps you hooked in the first movie is the fact you know this dude is dead. And then here he is, he's alive in a robot body, and he's talking, and you're like, is he still human? Like, was he human? That's what made you like Robocop. As you don't know. And then he had a family, and his wife was looking like Murphy, and he didn't recognize her at first, and all this. That's what kept you hooked. And then the cop girl that was his partner, I guess she loves him too. I forget what her name was. But, she was like, oh my God, Murphy, you're alive, and all that. And then, so in the movies, in the first three, he's trying to make sure, okay, he's still that complicated. Does he remember us? Is he still human? But it was such a shocking scene in the first movie when you see him get killed. That's the most epic uh, scene and powerful scene ever in an action movie. But for him to survive and be able to be a RoboCop, that was badass. And then take a time learning how to be a cop again, and going between it being real and a robot, or human and a robot. He figures out, like, okay, I'm fucking Murphy. And he goes and he starts trying to kill the gang that killed him, but they were working for this company that's trying to replace cops with robots, which is the same company he works for, or he was created from. And somehow I got a freaking allergy. But anyway, yeah, I mean, shit. It's just an excellent movie. The first RoboCop is an excellent movie. And I mean, there's so much stuff I can explain, but I'm telling you, the first 15 minutes of this movie should compel you to be like, whoa. If you've never seen the first RoboCop movie, go watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. That whole shootout in the beginning, like, damn. But he comes back and he's a robot, and he's a badass robot too, okay? And so, I mean, this basically goes, stop in the name of the law. Like, stop in the name of the law. And stuff like that. And it was just funny as hell. The second Robocop movie, which is probably the one that was played the most back in the day. And in this movie, you got a little kid too. And I guess you kind of could say, I guess you could compare that kid to like John Connor in a way, but the more of a drugged up John Connor. But he's a bad guy though. And the thing, reason what makes it funny that this little kid's a bad guy is he's like a dope dealer or some shit. And I forget the name of the drug, Bling or something it was called, Bling or Blink or some shit. But there was a guy in the movie who becomes like he was like a little kid's like mentor or some shit. He becomes the other robot or the Robocop character that they create a bigger, better Robocop. It's like a betrayal of Robocop by the people who created him, and he ends up fighting this guy, and it's a cool scene. But there's a lot of shit. The little boy and a drug dealer, there's some girl prostitute that's the boy's guardian. I don't know why, but I've seen this so many times. I've seen part Robocop 2 so many times, and I just like this is some crap. But there's some stuff in there they talk about that we have now, like the video call thing and all this crap we have now. But it's just funny back then. It was so funny, man. And then I'll buy that for $1 and all this crap. It was just stupid shit. But anyway, Terminator 2 is a great movie. I mean, Robocop 2 is a great movie. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Terminator when I'm talking about Robocop, but I want to say Robocop when I'm talking about Terminator. It's confusing. That's why I had to make this tier list. So, anyway, that's the scenario with those uh, characters or whatever, with that part 2 characters. I mean, I don't know any other way to explain Robocop 2 except for he's taking down this big ass drug lord team. He gets betrayed by I can't remember the name of the company right now that created Robocop, but he gets betrayed by them and they create a robot that is actually the drug lord that he was trying to take down. And he kills the drug lord, and the drug lord becomes a Robocop type character, which is so backass. It's kind of like the first movie where Robocop gets gunned down and becomes Robocop, but in the second one, the drug lord gets taken down and becomes a Robocop. So it's crazy, but a bad evil Robocop, big fight through some stairwells. It's kind of stupid. I don't know if it's. I want to say it's claymation, the fights between Robocop and his bad guy and robot characters, but it's not really claymation. I guess it would be like giant action figure claymation. I don't know. Back then, either way, it still was cool. It still is cool, and it's worth watching. It's a great movie to watch. It's just funny. There's some stuff in there that's funny with the little commercials they have in there, the robots, and just the people's personalities. And then Murphy's doing the stupid stuff because he's a robot. Oh, I don't even want to do Robocop voice. I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna do it. But anyway, so yeah, it's a stupid. It's good. It's stupid good in a good way. Stupid in a good way. But it's an entertaining movie. It's worth watching. Then here we got Robocop 3. So Robocop 3 came out after the popularity of Robocop 2. I would say like way after, because people was on this big hype after 2 came out on Robocop 2. And they waited too long, if you ask me, to make 3. Because when they finally made 3, not too many people cared. There's so much other stuff that came out. But when it came out, it was like, I was still a Robocop fan, so I was like, okay, I'm telling you, I had comic books of Robocop and everything. And so I went and watched it, and it was a little thing with the twin samurai robot bad guys, and the thing that made this movie cool is this bottom line, what makes Robocop 3 cool is Robocop 3, he gets a freaking jetpack. He gets a freaking jetpack. And he's just riding around. He's like, name of the law. Right? Like, and it's like, Robocop 3 is cool because of that. And, yeah, I'm just going to put it in the cool section. Robocop 3 is cool. It's a cool movie. It's worth watching at least once or twice. Not too many things that's interesting except for he has a freaking jetpack. And he fights a samurai robot dudes, a samurai twin robot dudes. That part's cool. And then the whole thing with there's like some resistance with the cops and the people in Detroit where they got this big what do you call that? A barrier? I don't know why I want to say Caliban. That makes no sense. But like a barrier or some kind of thing they make, protective thing in the middle of the city against the bad folk. I forget who the bad people was. It's been so long since I watched it. But yeah, then Robocop flies over with his jetpack. I don't know. Three's fun to watch. Okay, let's go watch it at least once. And then the new release. Like I said in the beginning, that some of y'all probably didn't get to see because it came a little late. But what happens is that Terminator, God dang it, I keep saying Terminator, Robocop had four movies I want to say that was made in Canada. So I left those out because I've only seen two of them, haven't seen the rest of them, and but the two of them did live up to the other RoboCop movies, like the first three movies. So it's just like a continuation. You can watch those movies on Tubi. They're out there. There's other RoboCop movies, and so I never decided to put it on this tier list because they're from Canada. Most people don't know about it. I don't know about the other movies after the first two of the ones they made, and so I don't know enough about it to talk about it and put it on the tier list. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna say, oh, like I do usually on the tier list where I'm like, oh, I know this one and everything else is, I don't know, I haven't watched it, blah, blah, blah. Like when I did DreamWorks or whatever. So I'm not doing that. So, but anyway, so the last movie on the tier list is the remake of Robocop. Visually impressive. I like the fact that Samuel Jackson's like this TV personality because in RoboCop you have a TV personality through all of them, through all those shows. Dude, goddamn, pop got me burping. Through all the RoboCop movies, you got a TV personality or whatever going on. So Samuel Jackson was good in this role, funny and funny looking the way they got him looking. And the Terminator, oh god dang it, the RoboCop actor, okay, he comes off a little bit too cocky. It doesn't have that charm, I guess, the original RoboCop did. At the same time, they totally forget about the whole cutting him down scene. They just made a car bomb and blew him up in his front yard. And the thing that's bad about it is when you get to the scene where they show what he looks like underneath the suit. And underneath the suit, he's just a head and some cords or whatever. He's not even a body. There's no body. It's just his brain, his heart, some organs, and that's it. You know, and it's like, okay, that's shitty. Because the original Robocop, he still had body. He has, his body still underneath there. He got the chest, he can take his top off or whatever, and he's still hands and stuff, or whatever. This RoboCop has one hand, and that's the part that makes sense. He has one real hand, the rest of his hand, the other hand is robot. And I mean, it's a different RoboCop. If I would say, you would say something different. And the whole suit is different too. It looks more like a Power Ranger, like metal Power Ranger suit, or I don't even know how to explain it. But I do like the fact that he has this super running ability thing, this tracking thing he's got going on. They were more strategic on trying to make strategized RoboCop with this character. He's more strategized. He can detect, and then this whole testing thing he was doing, and that part's cool. And then there's some other stuff that's cool in it too, but I wouldn't say it's super good because there's so much stuff that this doesn't seem a RoboCop. It doesn't seem like a RoboCop movie at some points. But I like how he exposes the bad guy at the end. But I really don't like the part where he doesn't have a body. It's like, okay, he's just a brain and eyes and a hand. And like, that's crazy. So, I don't know. But other than that, I mean, there's really good action scenes in this movie. I've seen it twice. It's not like I've seen the other RoboCop movies. I've seen part one a billion times. Part two, way more than a billion times. Part 3, maybe 100 times. And Robocop, this one, 2 times. So, but I'm gonna say it's okay. I'm not gonna say it's like. I mean, you can go watch it. It's okay movie. It's not like super freaking one you would watch over and over again. Not unless you like it. That like. I mean, this is just my opinion, my tier list. I don't want to argue about it, but this is how I do it. And so now you know what I recommend the most, which will be Terminator 2, Robocop 1. I did. When it comes to great, okay, you say Terminator 3, Sarah Connor Chronicles Salvation, and Robocop 2. Then you say cool movies to go watch would be Terminator 1 and Robocop 3. Okay, would be Robocop, the remake. And there's nothing bad because everything is terrible after that. Okay? Freaking Genesis could go kiss my ass, and they should just destroy the whole studio that decided they was gonna make Dark Fate. That's to kill John Connor. I don't like you people no more. Okay, I just don't care. Like, fuck, I should have never killed John Connor. And that's my Thursday tier list for this week. And I guess the month, because the month's gonna change over. I don't know. I'll figure out another tier list for next Thursday. I actually have some, I just been lazy. But yeah, I'm in GTA. You already know. It's all about that highlight, baby. But yeah. So that's my Thursday's tier list, and that's pretty much what I gotta say about it. And I just recommend you watch those movies in stride. Okay, like I don't know, take your time on it. Just don't fucking get in a dark fate. Ah, I hate that movie.